And I think the way the game is played has allowed her to showcase that skill, to be able to take that shot. That shot's being a good shot. It speaks to where basketball is right now.
And that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you know, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with...
I mean, I thought that they were professional, like, as you know, as anyone at this level would be. You know, I'm always impressed by the two of them. I think it was also really fun to see them playing together tonight.
Caitlyn Clark's entrance into the WNBA felt like an electric jolt. Fans who had followed her record-smashing college career already expected something big. But they never dreamed she would reshape the entire conversation around women's basketball in just one season. She was supposed to have a rough transition, face grown women, and find herself struggling against the physical demands of the league.
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
You know,
At least that was the popular narrative. Instead, she stormed into the spotlight and made it clear she wasn't there just to blend in. What sets Clark apart is her fearless approach. Most rookies tiptoe around established veterans, hoping not to rock the boat. She did the opposite. Pulling up from the logo for three-pointers, threading impossible passes through multiple defenders, and celebrating every basket with unapologetic swagger, she showcased the same confidence she'd been known for at Iowa.
Just do your best to be in the moment and treat people with kindness, and just be present when you can. It really makes a big difference. And looking at the type
Only now it was in the biggest women's basketball arena in the world. What happened next was even more shocking. MVP after MVP began to praise the very rookie they once doubted. Legends like Diana Taurasi, who had initially wondered if Clark could keep up, were forced to admit she had exceeded every expectation.
People say that Caitlyn Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
One veteran said it best. She doesn't move the needle, she is the needle. In truth, Clark's early career has become a cautionary tale for anyone quick to judge rising stars. You might think you've seen it all, from transcendent talents like Maya Moore, to unstoppable scorers like Diana Taurasi. But then someone like Clark comes along and shakes up the entire league. It's not just about the numbers, even though her stats are off the charts. It's about the attitude, the energy, and the certainty that she's here to stay. The question now is whether she can keep the momentum going, especially with the world watching her every move. And with 10 past MVPs already paying homage and one current MVP noticeably reluctant, there's more intrigue than ever. When did this shift in respect happen? How did Clark transform doubt into downright awe? And how will her growing legend shape the league's future? Before she embarked on her record-breaking run, Caitlyn Clark was dogged by skeptics. Some came from within the WNBA circles themselves, players, analysts, and even a handful of former MVPs who voiced their doubts in interviews. They acknowledged her impressive college career, but warned that the professional stage was a different beast. The physicality, the speed, and the demands of an 82-game-like grind, condensed into a shorter WNBA schedule, but with no shortage of competition, was supposedly going to humble her. One particularly outspoken critic was Diana Taurasi, widely heralded as one of the WNBA's all-time greatest players. Her comment, half snark and half truth, claimed that it's one thing to dominate players in their late teens, but another thing entirely to face veterans who had been competing at the professional level for over a decade. Taurasi's tone suggested she believed Clark would need a serious wake-up call. Another skeptic was Lisa Leslie, a three-time MVP and unstoppable force in her heyday. Early on, she floated the idea that Clark might share a Rookie of the Year award with a different star, perhaps to cushion the blow if Clark didn't live up to the hype. It was a cautious stance, almost as if she didn't want to commit to praising Clark fully before seeing her in a professional environment. Yet these seeds of doubt worked to Clark's advantage. She didn't respond with hostility or meltdown under the pressure. Instead, she quietly noted the criticisms and let her performances do the talking. She never called anyone out directly, but fans could sense that every step-back three, every bullet pass, and every swished shot from near half-court carried a subtle message. Keep doubting. I dare you. Criticism is common in sports, but what made Clark's situation unique was how quickly she turned naysayers into fans. Usually, a rookie might need a couple of seasons to earn respect. Clark did it almost instantly. So the real question is, what exactly changed everyone's minds? The path to silencing critics often starts with stats. And Caitlyn Clark's numbers weren't just good. They were historic. She amassed more assists than any rookie had in years, smashed three-point records, and at times seemed to be flirting with triple-doubles on a nightly basis. Fans watching at home would see the highlight reels and wonder, is this actually happening? It wasn't just about piling on points, though she did plenty of that. Clark displayed court vision that rivaled the league's best passers. She threaded pinpoint assists between defenders, turned broken plays into wide-open layups for her teammates, and forced opposing coaches to strategize for hours just to contain her. Even then, she kept burning them from 25, 26, 27 feet out, so they'd have to extend their defense to absurd distances. One of her earliest record-breaking performances was a double overtime thriller where she scored over 40 points and dished out more than 10 assists. Local newspapers dubbed it a double feature of unstoppable offense and mesmerizing ball distribution. Social media buzzed with comparison to Steph Curry for her shooting range and Prime Suburb for her passing. It seemed unbelievable that someone not even a month into her professional career could dominate in such a fashion. But that wasn't even her most eye-popping game. Later in the season, she set a record for most assists by a rookie in a single contest. The moment the final buzzer sounded, fans realized they were witnessing a turning point in the league. The WNBA's official social media pages plastered her highlights across every platform, while teammates marveled at how seamlessly she balanced scoring and facilitation. Opponents, on the other hand, scrambled to find new defensive schemes that might slow her down. No easy task when she's a threat to pull up from anywhere. For every breathtaking performance, the chatter among past MVPs grew louder. Even the formerly skeptical Lisa Leslie had to admit that Clark exceeded expectations. Instead of co-rookie of the year talk, Leslie shifted to praising Clark for elevating her entire team. And Breanna Stewart was one of the earliest to publicly acknowledge Clark's emergence. After watching Clark dissect opposing defenses for a month, Stewart praised her ability to stretch the floor and keep every defender on high alert. Considering Stewart's history, multiple championships, and MVP awards, her words carry weight. She's not known for baseless hype, so when she speaks, people listen. Candace Parker, both an MVP and a championship winner, also joined the chorus. One of the biggest compliments Parker gave was saying that Clark changes the way an opponent has to guard the court, comparing Clark's deep-range threat to the way Steph Curry revolutionized the NBA. Parker went on to call Clark a showman, someone who draws massive crowds and even bigger TV audiences. Tina Charles, another former MVP and longtime scoring machine, remarked on how refreshing it was to see a rookie come in and command such respect while having fun on the court. She noted how Clark's creativity sets her apart, that she's not just about launching threes, but also about whipping no-look passes, throwing behind-the-back assists, and fearlessly driving into traffic to draw fouls. In Charles's eyes, that mixture of flair and grit is rare in newcomers. Maya Moore, who once inspired a young Caitlyn Clark to dream of WNBA stardom, gave perhaps the most heartwarming endorsement. Moore recounted memories of meeting Clark as a child, describing how passionately the young fan looked up to her. Fast forward to today, and Moore couldn't help but smile at seeing Clark influence the next generation in exactly the same way. From little girl in the stands to rookie phenom with a legion of fans, Clark's journey felt like a cinematic story arc. Then there's Nneka Ogwumike, who observed during All-Star festivities how Clark's sense of professionalism and calm under pressure already matched that of veteran stars. Ogwumike highlighted the synergy Clark developed with teammates. She wasn't just about personal glory, she wanted to elevate the entire roster. Such praise from one of the league's most respected figures underscored the truth. Clark was rewriting preconceived notions about rookie limitations, and she was doing it fast. Cynthia Cooper, the first ever WNBA MVP, took the admiration a step further by declaring that Clark belonged on Team USA. she believed the rookie experience in international play would benefit the national program for years. Hearing Cooper, an icon from the league's early days, basically say, "We need her," was a high honor indeed. Even Diana Taurasi, the initial doubter, had to reconsider her stance by season's end. After multiple head-to-head matchups, in which Clark often outscored and outplayed the Mercury legend, Taurasi publicly acknowledged Clark's work ethic and resilience. Watching them share a warm embrace post-game was like witnessing a passing of the torch. Behind the scenes, Clark's effect on her teammates was just as transformative. Veterans in the Indiana Fever locker room spoke about the immediate jolt of excitement she brought. Erica Wheeler, once an All-Star Game MVP herself, said Clark's light-hearted banter helped the team bond, even during losing streaks. Instead of dwelling on pressure and negativity, Clark made sure to keep the atmosphere upbeat, reminding everyone why they fell in love with basketball in the first place. That laid-back vibe off the court didn't overshadow her seriousness once the game started. She was meticulous in film study and embraced constructive criticism. Coaches noticed how quickly she adapted to different defensive schemes. If an opponent blitzed her with double teams, she'd respond by racking up assists. If they sagged, off, she'd bury them in a barrage of three-pointers. Fans, too, responded in droves. Attendance at Fever games soared as supporters flocked to see the Caitlyn Clark show. Network viewership hit new highs, with highlight reels frequently trending online. Merchandise sales spiked, and the WNBA saw a noticeable uptick in younger viewers, some of whom might never have tuned into a women's basketball game, if not for Clark's mesmerizing style. In many ways, Clark bridged gaps. She attracted fans who'd grown up watching legends like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, as well as brand new fans looking for a fresh face to root for. The league capitalized on this excitement by featuring her more prominently in promotional materials. Before long, Clark's face was on billboards and digital banners promoting key rivalry matchups. Behind all the glitz, her teammates acknowledged how vital her presence had become. Younger players looked to her for guidance, which was a testament to her leadership qualities despite her rookie status. Veterans, meanwhile, recognized that her star power could elevate their own profiles and bring more attention to the team. Overall, far from any toxic environment, the Fever's locker room seemed to buzz with the energy of a franchise on the cusp of something special. No great sports story is complete without a bit of rivalry drama. Early in the season, fans tried to stoke a rivalry between Clark and Angel Reese, another young star who also carried a massive following from her college days. Online communities boiled with debates over who was truly changing the game. As if the two couldn't coexist, the media poured fuel on the fire by constantly comparing their statistics and personalities. Yet those who knew Clark insisted she wasn't looking to be pit against Reese or any other top-tier name. She was there to compete, period. And ironically, it was the intense hype and online chatter that made each matchup between these rising stars must-watch TV. Whether the two were trading buckets or defending each other at half-court, viewers could sense the competitive spirit. But Reese wasn't the only competition. Every time Clark faced a team with a former MVP, the media framed it as a test of her legitimacy. Could she withstand Candace Parker's defensive IQ? Would she crack under Breanna Stewart's all-around dominance? These narratives sparked fierce on-court battles, with Clark thriving under the pressure. By mid-season, she had notched victories against several superstar-laden rosters, proving she could lead her team no matter the opponent. As for Diana Taurasi, the 4 matchups they had became appointment television. Each game felt like a duel, between the league's all-time scoring champion and the young upstart with range for days. In one contest, Clark erupted for 35 points, overshadowing Taurasi's own 25, and sealed the game with a dagger 3 in the final minute. Cameras caught Taurasi grinning, almost in disbelief, as if she'd met her match. Still, the biggest question loomed. Could Clark's heroics translate into championship hardware? Individual accolades were stacking up, but fans of the Indiana Fever had endured several rough seasons. Suddenly, with Clark in the mix, everything felt possible. The roster, once overshadowed by bigger market teams, now had a generational talent, capable of attracting both superstars and role players who wanted to ride the wave of excitement. As the season progressed, analysts and insiders started framing Clark as the future face of the WNBA. They weren't just talking about a strong rookie year. They were talking about her capacity to revolutionize the style of play. Her willingness to attempt long-range shots early in the shot clock, her flair for behind-the-back passes in transition, and her knack for rallying fans around her with spontaneous bursts of scoring. These were all qualities reminiscent of game-changers in other leagues. Former WNBA MVP Cynthia Cooper suggested that adding Clark to the national team roster would be beneficial not only for upcoming tournaments, but for forging a new identity for Team USA. The idea was that Clark's brand of basketball, fast-paced, unpredictable, and fan-friendly, could be the next evolution of how the national team dominates international competitions. In the bigger picture, Clark's story resonated with younger athletes everywhere. Middle school and high school players started attempting her signature deep threes, and social media platforms flooded with clips of kids shouting "Clark range" as they tried to emulate her shooting form. It was reminiscent of the way Stephen Curry sparked the global three-point revolution in the NBA. Now Clark seemed to be doing the same for women's basketball. Marketability was another enormous factor. Sponsors quickly took note of how Clark's fan engagement soared. Endorsement deals rolled in, featuring everything from sports apparel to charitable initiatives aimed at growing the women's game. She became one of the central faces in the 18 Onundui League's campaigns, standing alongside established superstars who had dominated for years. Some fans, particularly younger ones, found themselves caught between supporting established legends and this new wave of talent, and many ended up embracing both. But not everyone was ready to hand Clark the crown. The current MVP, A'ja Wilson, expressed that to be considered among the all-time greats in college or the WNBA, you typically need at least one championship ring. In her eyes, it was a measuring stick that separated good from legendary. Though Wilson acknowledged Clark's staggering abilities, she stopped short of declaring her a league icon. In many ways, that skepticism only added more fuel to the discussion. So, here we are, witnessing a generational shift in the WNBA that few could have predicted. Caitlyn Clark has not only carved out a name for herself, she's also forced some of the biggest legends, Breanna Stewart, Candace Parker, Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi, Tina Charles, Cynthia Cooper, Lisa Leslie, Nneka Ogwumike, Tamika Catchings, and more, to take a step back and acknowledge they might have underestimated her. A few even went as far as to say she redefined what it means to be a rookie in a league historically dominated by veterans. Yet, the real story isn't just about the accolades and the records, nor is it about proving the doubters wrong. It's about how her presence lifts the entire league. Attendance is climbing, young viewers are tuning in, and even heated rivalries like Clark versus Angel Reese or Clark versus Diana Taurasi are drawing massive attention to women's sports. She's been the centerpiece of discussions on talk shows, podcasts, and social media platforms, turning even casual bystanders into interested spectators. Looking ahead, it's hard not to wonder, is Caitlyn Clark on a collision course with destiny? Will she conquer the one area A'ja Wilson suggests matters most, a WNBA championship? And what does that mean for the league's established hierarchy? Observers say her rookie season is just the beginning. Each year, the targets on her back will grow, and every season, teams will scheme more intensely to stop her. But if her first campaign is any indication, she thrives under that kind of spotlight. For now, though, let's appreciate the moment. We're watching history in the making. Clark represents a new era in women's basketball. Fearless, flashy, and undeniably effective. She's not content to simply follow in the footsteps of legends. She's blazing a unique trail that might turn out to be an even bigger path for the players who come after her. Where do you stand on Caitlyn Clark's meteoric rise? Do you think she'll stand among the WNBA's greatest by the time her career ends? Share your thoughts below. And if you want to stay in the loop about her ongoing journey and everything else that's changing in women's basketball, make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on. After all, this is more than just another impressive rookie year. It's the dawn of a whole new chapter in the WNBA, and it's already living up to the hype.